Hey everyone, welcome back to my channel. So this is what is the beginning of the ODATA service development, which I thought to share certain information like how to create ODATA service. And we'll start with a very basic example and slowly we'll get into more complex kind of a scenarios, right? So I believe that sounds interesting to you, and of course I'll be using my ABAP for HANA system, which I recently installed in my system, and also created a video on how you can also install your own SAP. All right, so now let's move into the final goal, what exactly we're trying to achieve in this video. Of course this video will not be able to give you the full information, because that way the video will be too much lengthy, which I don't want to make. So split that into different steps. So the primary focus is to build this kind of OTP generator. We'll be using an UI5 and ODATA, okay, to build this application. Now this OTP generation, I already created another video recently and I also published it. I have just given the video URL in the description box and explained how this token generator works. Alright, so what the focus is, we'll be using the same program or same class, which will be called from my ODATA service, right? And that will be exposed as a service, as I said. And eventually we'll create a UI5 application from which we'll access that ODATA service, which we'll build now. Alright, so that sounds interesting and you understood what exactly we are going to do. And in this video, we'll just restrict our development only to ODATA generation. Let's get into that. So to start creating ODATA, SEGW, through transaction SEGW, we'll be using this, our ODATA project. So let's start with that. So let's head over to that. So create a service and I'll calling it ZOD. OTP generator 2, okay. So it's time-based OTP generator. All right. There are a couple of options. As you can see, you can create with an SAP annotations, then certain vocabulary based annotation, model for referenced service, some other service you want to extend and all, and finally is ODATA V4 service. So we'll be using the default one, which is SAP annotations. Generation strategy on this standard offered package. I have not created any package as of now, so we'll create in a local object. All right. So this is generator 2 created, and you see that different folder structures got created. The first one is data model, and you will have the entity types, associations, and different entity sets. Then we have service implementation, runtime artifact, and finally the service maintenance. We'll get into that slowly. So to start with, how ODATA works. So we have a service URL. If you make a request to the service provider, correct, then I'm expecting some data to be fetched from. So in this case, what will be our focus? So we'll be basically providing these 3 inputs and I'll get this as an output, right? So that is kind of a structure that we are envisioning, correct? So let's head over to that, creating an entity type. So we can create and we can say like get TOTP. So that is my entity name. If you click on that, automatically the set will be appended and we are going to create the entity set. Alright, so now if you expand that, you have certain properties and navigation properties. We'll not talk about navigation association in this basic example. We'll get into that slowly. So let's double click on properties and let's create our structures. We can do many ways. We can import certain structure and we could create our entity types, but I have not any already created some database structure, DDIC structure, so I'm creating it manually. Okay, so click on plus. So every entity types will have certain key fields, that's mandatory. So we call it security key. So that is what we are going to pass, means this is the one we have to pass, right? So it's a key field. I want to put it as an ADM string value. And when this is an ODATA service, means the front end application will be dealing with this property, okay? But back end, it may not be the same thing, but we can write something. You can simply say security, okay? So that is my back end. ABAP will deal with this field. All right. Let's create one more, and this one is all about, what should I say? The next one is something called number of digits. So we can call it as OTP length, correct? It's basically camel case generally use the front end, right? I want to use it as well, and key field, but this time I'll go for an integer. All right, we call it OTP length. Perfect. What next? Now the duration, right? So it's OTP or maybe token expiry. Okay, correct. And this one also I want to set it as an integer, and we can call it OTP duration, right? So far so good. Of course this should be also a key field. The last one is what we want to fetch the data from. Okay, so we are calling it the token. The final is, sorry, let's call it token, and we just want to set it as a string. Okay, we can call token. So this much we created, and I believe you understood how things are. So let's generate it. Let's save it for the first time. So here the entity type means the structure, right? But entity sets is talk about a table or kind of a aggregation, right? You see. All right. So once we have our property created, what next? The next is very simple. We need to generate, right, this runtime object. So if you click on that generate button, it will offer kind of this pop-up, and it will propose a few class names. So this base class DPC is called the data provider class. MPC is the model provider class. This is the service which will be eventually generated at the end, and that's all. And whenever any changes we will do, we will not touch DPC or MPC. Okay, there are many developers at the beginning, they think like it's a G class, so let's make modification on this class itself. It's not, because the moment you generate this kind of a structure again or order service again, what will happen, it will regenerate and your all code will be vanished, right? So don't touch anything on this and this. You can change DPCXT and MPCXT only. All right, MPC is all your model, means all your data definition part, structuring part, that you have to change something is the MPCXT. DPCXT where you will write a programming logic, right? So let's generate it. Again, it's asked for the package. Let's put in a local package. It's all generated and all messages are successful, and you can see now the runtime artifacts over here. Okay, so you can see the DPCXT, MPC, etc. all created. Now to check this class what actually created, you can basically right click on that and you can call it go to ABAP workbench. Let's go there. So this is the class, no methods coming because the filter icon is active. So yeah, so this is what actually been generated. As I said, we'll be only making modifications on DPCXT. All right, so let's scroll down a little below. What we'll see, there are certain methods auto created, right, kind of a crude operations. So what we want, we basically need not multiple OTP tokens at a time, right? We'll be getting only one token, so that's the reason we'll implement this one. All right, so this is kind of a readable mode, so you have to click on edit button. Now it's a readable mode, and you will see this particular button is available, that's called redefine. So let's click on that and it will redefine your code or method rather. All right, so now you can close this, put operative printer, and let's put activate. So this is the method which will write our code. But before that, let's do one more thing. Let's put a breakpoint first and see whether this method at all getting called or not, right? But before that, one thing is important. We have created the ODATA project, but we have to register it for a consumption. Okay, so generally what happens, there are two different systems being proposed earlier days. One is a native or gateway system, which will only have your gateway registered, means ODATA service registered, and the other service, other system, or will be dedicated only for your program logic, right? But that is no more required nowadays, because SAP says like no need to have a hub system required for S/4HANA to avoid performance reasons, kind of multiple layering to avoid. You can create the service over here and you can register in the same system. So let's do that. So if we just explain, so this is the gateway hub, it's already available, already pre-configured. So click on SAP gateway client, or it should be registered basically. First you have to do. Once you register it, this kind of pop-up comes, and again you have to select local object, because I'm going to save it and locally. You can OK, that's all. So your service actually been registered. All right, and now you can click on SAP gateway client. Yes, I'm okay to continue to a different screen from here, and this is what the gateway client appears. So let's click on execute and see what's the problem. No problem, everything fine. You see the status code OK, means our service is actually created perfectly. Now go to add URI options, and from here you can select the metadata. All right, and if you execute, see, you will see the metadata that we created, right? All the key fields that we are created, and different containers. If you just add different annotations, we'll do slowly. We'll create serious views from there. We'll generate OData. We'll do POPF, lot of things. So slowly you'll see like those annotations will also be a part of your metadata, right? But the thing is, now it is perfectly fine. All right. So what next we have to do? Let's access this service also from the postman and see whether it's working or not. But before that, what I wanted to start with, I just wanted to see whether the method is getting called or not, right? So let's go for entity sets, and this is the entity set. All right, so if I execute, what will happen? It will give a problem. Let's see what the problem. It's telling not implemented. So it is telling this get OTP set get entity set. What does it mean? Let's see. If you go to DPCXT once again, see the methods given here. I have just implemented this one, but it is expecting this also to be implemented. But as I said, I need only one token. Then why do I need to implement it? We don't need to. What exactly thing is, when you call that structure, we have to make sure to passing the key fields also, but you are making a request to that service. So here in this case, we are not passing any request. So if you go there and just put something called the key field. What is the key field? Do you know the key field? The key fields will be available here. The properties will give me the key fields. We'll give the key fields over here. We'll not take this one, okay? Because we are saying the client side will always take from this side. So security key, and that is equal to we'll put within a quotation called hello world. Or even what we can do, we can just use the same password, so that we can also validate what's happening eventually, right? So this is my first token, then comma, without any space. You give the second one. What is the second one? This one, correct? OTP length. Alright, so OTP length is equal to 6, because we have putting in as an integer, so we don't need to put a quotation. And third one was what happened? The third one was token expiry. So final is this, and you put 13, right? So if we just execute, then should be working, I guess. Let's say execute, and vure or entity type is getting called, the method is getting called, right? So if I go back a call trace, and you can see in the key tab, you will have these 3 values added. Awesome, right? This is what you pass. So this is the values we'll be using it. Perfect. So far so good. But now it is still giving a problem, because we are not passing back any data out of this method, right? So that's just giving that there is no data or something, a problem. That's okay, fair enough. For the timing, we are good. You can just click on this filter, which one you just implemented, that will be only filtered down. So now double click on that, and what you have to do, click on edit, and the class which I have created, the code I already shared in my earlier video, and that is already in the GitHub. So that with that same code I just created a class. Okay, so let's test that class as well to see this class is giving the correct results or not, right? So this is the class I created. If you execute on that class, you will see the get instance. Click on that get instance. Now these are the values I have to pass. So the values are this one, copying it, put it over here, go back. Now rest are all default, so let's execute, and again execute, get OTP 85976. No, it's a different number, no problem, because by this time it already expired. 086089 is it numbered? Yeah, 086089. Awesome, right? So this class is actually giving me the correct result. So this class I'll be actually using from my ODATA method, DPC method, right? DPC XC. So let's go to that. Where to go? Yeah. So for that, first we need to grab the value from the key tab from here, right? So let's do a ABAP 7.4 coding. I'm calling it is a security key, right? So that is equal to value, and this is the table, and what is the name property we saw? Security key, right? So that is the value, and what we want to get out of that value, right, from this table. And we'll be doing this optional add-on so that it will not give me a short dump if this table is actually empty. I'm planning to generate a few more videos on the ABAP 7.4 syntaxes because I got many requests from different YouTube friends, but that will do a little later. So let's copy this code, and we need a few more, right? So one would be my token link. So that is the key. The property name is what? You can get the property name from this here, right? So this is the property name, OTP alien. All right. And for the last one is the duration, right? Yeah. And what is that? What is the property name? It's called token expiry. Okay. Token. Is it a correct syntax, correct name, or let's copy it, otherwise it can be a problem during fetch, it will fail. Alright, so go for a pretty printer. So now this is the data I have already picked from. Okay, so what next you want? I want to call this class. So ZCL and OTP generator. Just go for a syntax check. Yes, so this is the class. What we want out of that, we want this get instance. So if you just click on that, you will see all the hover on this, you will see all the properties. But I'll click on the shift key and double click on this, so it will basically give me the all the parameters automatically. So this is the only key I have to give. So if I just give the security key, then it is fine. If I don't give it, so it's a default, that's why giving an optional, but I want to give that as well so that my solution is more robust and nothing hard coded. So I'll put this one, and the duration, right? The last one is the duration. Now if I do a syntax check, what will happen? It will give a problem. It will say that this token type is incompatible, okay, because it's an integer. So we'll do a simple conversion, right? Use that as well. So once I do that, hopefully all good. Perfect. So now it will receiving, so I don't want that, delete it, and I'll use the chain operator. Okay, and what the method next? Get OTP. That's all. So This will give me the OTP. Okay, 1 second. So I believe I gave one exception also. Yeah, that's why exception will be brought into. So put try catch. I don't want. I just card this in try, or maybe I can just copy card it, put it within in try block, and just remove this one. And we can put something called into data, and it's yellow error, right? So that way I'm done, but I have to get the value from here to summer, right? So what we can do, we can copy entity name, and that, what is the name? Entity is the property. What is the property? Token. So this token will contain this value, correct? And also put other few values, and for example OTP duration will be duration, and then what next? Security. Let's send security also. And the way we are doing is actually incorrect. Again, I'm saying it, the way we are doing is incorrect, and the reason is okay, I'll shortly tell you what is the reason. So let's continue, and then we'll see what's the problem, and that way we'll learn actually. Okay, so we basically passing token, duration, security key, and one more thing hopefully, and that is the length, right? Yeah, so this length also we need to pass. That is token length. All good. All right, so if I just get an activation, we'll write this kind of a sorry, some basic mistake I always do. I believe where I put that. 1 second. Oh, sorry, it should be data. This way my method is active and I'm just exposing these values. That's all. So if I just generate it or activate it, then we are good. So what we'll be doing, simply testing it from this client. Let's do that. Execute. Boom. And now you see the token 330-336-033. Is it the token? Yeah, 336-033. Fantastic. So our ODATA service is built. I'm able to test it. And what next? Let's do that from Postman also, right? So that we can also, no need to come to gateway client, and each time we make a changes, we'll do it from Postman. Okay. So my Postman is here. So let's create a collection. So all my requesting will put it over here. So collection name, let's do OTP gen. So that is my collection name, and we'll be going for a basic authentication. Okay. The username is developer, and password is here. Copying it. Right. So if I just that's all. So now let's create one more. So let's save this. Now within that, we'll create a request. Now how to create a request? So this is, you'll just go to from HTTP to HTTPS secured, and you will get kind of a complete URL. Copy this and put it over here. That's all. Will it work? No, it will not. Why? We'll see. Let's see what happens. Could not send request. You know the problem? The problem is here, this one. Okay. The problem is I had to change my host file, right? And if I change it, then I have to restart my system and all. So I'm a little lazy. So let's do the other way. I'll be using this IP address instead of this, right? So change it and put IP. Sometimes it can give a SSL error. What you have to do? Click on this settings button, and just if it is active, then make it off. Okay, that's the only thing I have to do. So let's save it, and the new request, we can call it get OTP, right? So that is my service. So if I click on send, awesome, 200. Okay, you see the token. One more thing we can do, go to headers. We can do something called accept. A lot of things. yeah, accept is actually star. So we can put something called, I don't know why it is not coming, it is not taking. Why I don't know. Let's put accept, and we can put application JSON, and if I save it and resend, what will happen? Awesome, you see now I'm getting the data in a JSON fashion. So we have built our service, and between ODATA and V2 and V4, the main difference is this kind of extra layering, like lots of metadata information coming along with the response. That thing can be avoided in ODATA V4 model. We'll see that also in future videos, but our journey is successful. At least our target was to create a ODATA service and accessing it to see the token gets generated or not successfully, and you're all set. So in this video, let's stop it here, and in coming video we'll consume this service from our UFF application. And also important thing, I was telling that this particular service is actually passing the security key. That is the mistake we are doing. It's an incorrect, because this is top secret information, because that is how the token is all based on. If you make a request and passing all this key information over the wire, then obviously anybody can get the token and hack your system. So that's the reason this is a mistake we're doing, right? And we'll correct this mistake, but we'll do it little later. So for the timing, we are all safe, all good, because we are doing everything internal machine. So I think that's all set. So that was the interesting point I was just wanted to give you, and it's working pretty fine. So let's change it to some other token length. If I put 10, what will happen? Will it work? Then yeah, a big number, it's a 10 characters, but also we have to do one thing. We have to set it to 10 so that we can match 2014876516, 2014876516. Awesome, it's all working perfectly. So let's stop this video now, as I said, and we'll begin connect to our next video. Till then, goodbye, take care.